everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining the National Down Syndrome Society's Caregiver Webinar Series. Whether you're a parent, sibling, professional, or a friend, your role as a caregiver matters deeply, and we're excited to have you with us. This is the first webinar in our Caregiver Series, happening throughout the month of October. Be sure to check out our website for additional webinar offerings in this series. Today, we are kicking things off by highlighting the many caregiver resources NDSS has for free on our website. My name is Charlotte Woodward, and I am the Programs Associate at NDSS. Before we dive into the content of today's webinar, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items to ensure that everyone has an enjoyable experience throughout today's webinar. If you experience any technical issues during the webinar, please use the chat function to notify our support team, and they will do their best to assist you promptly. Our presenters will answer questions at the end of the webinar. So we encourage you to submit your questions throughout the webinar using the Q&A feature located near the bottom of the screen. We will do our best to answer as many questions as possible during the designated Q&A time. If we are unable to answer your questions during the event, or if you have a very specific question, we will be sharing an email address toward the end of today's webinar that you can use to contact us. Please note that we will not be using the raise hand feature. This webinar is being recorded and will be shared on the NDSS YouTube channel and NDSS website. Within a few days, you will receive an email with the link within the next couple of days and links to some other resources mentioned in today's presentation. Thank you for your attention. Let's get started.
Thanks, Charlotte. Are you able to see the mission screen? Is that what everyone's seeing? Okay. So as some of you may have heard, we had an announcement earlier this week that LuMind IDSC and NDSS have now merged together to create one organization. And so NDSS's new mission is creating a world where individuals with Down syndrome thrive. In addition to our previous areas of programming, we've added a research pillar. So within NDSS, we focus on resources and support, research, advocacy and policy, and community engagement. Our resources and support includes our 1-800 helpline and info email. We have information emails also for our areas of programming, in addition to our general info box. Our resources and information cover the lifespan from our new and expectant parent guides all the way to our end of life and caregiving guides. Our resources encompass the areas of education, employment, health and wellness, aging, caregiving, and more. So our research pillar is going to be bridging the gap between research in our community and sharing research opportunities. We will be expanding clinical trials and access and continuing our advocacy, especially as it relates to the connection between Down syndrome and Alzheimer's disease. We will add to our resources more information on research opportunities as well as those clinical trials.
For the advocacy and public policy area that we also have, we target federal, state, and local advocacy. We also develop and improve laws to positively impact people with Down syndrome across the country and affirm their human rights. And we also and our legislative agenda spans the life experience of individuals with Down syndrome. NDSS also offers scholarships and grants, leads the National Buddy Walk program, and Times Square video presentation, runs the Down Syndrome Ambassador program, and hosts a variety of awareness building and fundraising events throughout the year.
Thank you, Charlotte. I am Jessica Kuss. I am the Director of Community Programs here at NDSS. I am also a mom to an 11-year-old son with Down syndrome. And today we are going to be going over some of our many resources that we have as it pertains to caregivers. We're going to cover the topics of education, employment, volunteering, financial wellness, aging and caregiving, Alzheimer's disease, regression, as well as end-of-life care. To start us off, our education resources. We have many education resources. One that is our newest guidebook is our Transitioning from School to Adulthood Guide. This is made for families and caregivers as they work to plan for life after leaving high school, whether that is entering a post-secondary college program, going into the workforce, or even volunteering. This guide provides a step-by-step resource for families. It includes fillable worksheets in our online PDF version, as well as checklists for families to go through as they look to plan for the future. Not everyone necessarily goes on to a career or college after high school. And so Charlotte actually has contributed to creating a self-advocate volunteer resource that sort of outlines what volunteering is, how you could get involved in volunteer opportunities, and the benefits of volunteering. One important thing to note about volunteering would be that if you have a child or a student that is unsure maybe of what they might want to do after high school, volunteering is an excellent way to test out some different areas. Maybe you're able to volunteer at an SPCA or something involving animals if that is of interest to your loved one with Down syndrome. Perhaps your loved one with Down syndrome thinks they really want to work with children, so maybe they can volunteer at a church or a summer camp, things like that. And all of that can aid in the overall planning in the transition plan, which is part of their IEP. Our financial wellness guide and our entrepreneurship guide are two of our employment resources. Later on this month, you will have the opportunity to attend 2 additional webinars that focus on entrepreneurship, as well as one focusing on financial planning, special needs trusts, and optimizing ABLE accounts. These are companion guides that would accompany those presentations that you will see later this month. And in those webinars, there will be more information provided and details about what these specific resources offer to the community.
Next, our Aging and Down Syndrome, a health and well-being guidebook, was created by NDSS in partnership with the National Task Group on Intellectual Disabilities and Dementia Practices, also known as NTG, and the Alzheimer's Association. The second edition guidebook was released to provide guidance, education, and support for families and caregivers of older adults with Down syndrome. This aging guidebook emphasizes the importance of a healthy lifestyle and coordinating medical care and support. It includes descriptions of common medical conditions older adults with Down syndrome might face and what kind of healthcare provider a person would see for that condition. It also outlines how to plan for successful aging and how that may look different for individuals and families. This is a strong and sensitive topic in our community now, with individuals with Down syndrome living longer. So I strongly encourage you to look at this one and ensure families in your community have it too. The Caregiving and Down Syndrome Guidebook was produced by NDSS in partnership with the NTG and the National Alliance for Caregiving. This guidebook provides a high-level overview of important information regarding guardianship, creating a support plan, housing, and self-care for caregivers. And this is an exceptionally helpful tool for older siblings or family friends who have recently become caregivers of an adult with Down syndrome.
Thank you, Charlotte. Recently, we were able to add a companion piece to our caregiving guidebook, which is a toolkit. On our website, you will find both a downloadable PDF version as well as a fillable version. And in this toolkit, there are several worksheets and planning documents to assist with the many things that come with caregiving for an adult with Down syndrome. These worksheets include emergency planning. What would happen in case of an emergency? Should you be living on your own, or would you maybe be in a situation where you would need to call for help? Support planning, that long-term planning of what happens when we reach certain milestones in life, or if the transition between parents being caregivers to perhaps a sibling being a caregiver. A lot of these worksheets will help with that transition in navigating all of the important things, such as what are the doctor's names, the contact information, things maybe about a waiver service, all of those things encompassed in a smaller, more condensed version that people can fill out and leave with maybe the next caregiver, or if they're going out of town, they would be able to leave some of this information with another caregiver. It also includes some very important information about self-care for caregivers. Those of us who are caregiving know that burnout is real. Later this month, we will have a presentation specifically focused on caregiver burnout and how you as caregivers can care for yourself and make sure that you are keeping your cup full, as well as providing care for your loved one with Down syndrome. Next, we have our Alzheimer's disease and Down syndrome guidebook for caregivers. Again, this was created in partnership with NTG and the Alzheimer's Association. It discusses the biological connection between Down syndrome and Alzheimer's disease, as well as what it looks like to arrive at the diagnosis, some of the treatment options that exist, and how communication and behavior strategies are very important should your loved one be experiencing any symptoms of dementia or early onset Alzheimer's. It also includes some more information on planning for the future. As we have now added a research pillar to our organization, Alzheimer's disease is going to remain a top focus of our organization, as well as making sure that we continue to advocate for those individuals with Down syndrome to be a part of the research clinical trials and to understand more about the connection between Down syndrome and Alzheimer's disease. Regression. As you may have heard in recent years, Down syndrome regression disorder has become more prevalent. We are aware of this and in working in partnership with Dr. Jonathan Santoro, who has really dedicated so much of his research and his time into studying regression disorder. NDSS, along with Dr. Santoro, has created a Down syndrome regression disorder checklist. It is a 3-page checklist to go through maybe some symptoms that you may notice in your loved one, as well as a short video that goes through the checklist, and it's about 5 to 6 minutes long. When many caregivers, physicians, parents, we don't have time to sit through sometimes hour-long webinars to understand things. This is a really great small snippet of a resource that Dr. Santoro really dives in at a high level, going through this checklist. We also did have a webinar that is closer to an hour long with Dr. Santoro that goes into greater detail about what Down syndrome regression disorder is, how to recognize it, and what treatment options are. Down syndrome regression disorder is mainly seen in younger, mid-aged youth to young adults, oftentimes, sometimes misdiagnosed of early onset dementia or Alzheimer's, but it is when individuals with Down syndrome who previously were able to do certain skills maybe tend to lose those skills or regress back. It is something that is being researched and more is being learned about it day after day. It is not something that typically impacts the older population, but it is something that is becoming more prevalent, or at least just something that more people are noticing, and studies are being done to prevent the regression from progressing. I will be sure to link all of these resources will be linked at the end of this, as well as in a follow-up email, and you do have access to all of our previously recorded webinars that will include this short video resource from Dr. Santoro, as well as the longer webinar of discussing the details of regression on our website. Our End of Life and Down Syndrome guidebook is created again in partnership with NTG and the Alzheimer's Association. While this is a very difficult conversation and many things that people don't often like to discuss, it is a very important topic, and to ensure that all decisions that arise later in life at end of life can be addressed. There is proactive guidance for difficult decisions and situations, as well as support for families in the end of life for an individual with Down syndrome. We allow for families to, this guidebook is for caregivers and families as they transition into the later years of life, for individuals with Down syndrome, and ensure that there are proper resources given as we enter that phase of life. As I mentioned before, our resource links for all of our resources are linked on our website. The copy of this presentation will be sent in an email after the conclusion of the webinar, and you'll have the hyperlinks to these. All of NDSS's resources are always free on our website and able to be downloaded. Some of our resources, we do have hard copies, and if you are interested in hard copies, you can reach out to us at info@ndss.org, and if we have hard copies, we are more than welcome to send you them in the mail. Also, all of our previously recorded NDSS webinars can be found on our website. We have webinars from that relate to our education and specific learning profile, as well as an Alzheimer's webinar with Dr. Raffi, the regression webinar with Dr. Santoro. We do have a mental health webinar that we previously recorded with Dr. Chantanese Reese, and she will be back later this month with an additional webinar. So if any of these topics you would like more information on, you can look back into our history of our webinars and watch them at any time at your convenience. All of the Caregiver Resource Webinar Series webinars will be highlighted on our website as well as our YouTube channel for future viewing. I saw that there were some questions pop up in the chat, so I am going to go and look at those. Let's see. Okay, we had a great question in the Q&A. For young adults who are unable to attend college, work, or volunteer, does NDSS have any resources related to finding day support programs? That's a great question. We do not necessarily have state-specific resources for specific day support programs. However, we are able to connect you with local Down syndrome organizations and provide any help that we might be able to in assisting you in finding some of those day support programs. If you send an email to info@ndss.org, we will be able to help navigate that with you, and depending on where you live, look into some of those options for you. I think we did answer some of these on regression. The recording will be available as well as the slide presentation. We have a few announcements as well. We are going to be co-hosting an adult conference with the Down Syndrome Association, the Massachusetts Down Syndrome Congress. That will be taking place in March, on March 27th and 28th of 2026 in Worcester, Massachusetts. It will be a conference focused on aging, adults with Down syndrome, and caregiving. I'm trying to... So our Brighter Future Conference, I will include the link to sign up to be notified when registration goes live. That should be in the next few weeks. And again, this will take place in 2026 on March 27th and 28th at the DCU Center in Massachusetts. And we are co-hosting this with the Massachusetts Down Syndrome Congress. As you know, October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month, and we have kicked off the month strong with the resource overview, and we will continue to provide caregiver webinars throughout the month. This is the layout for the next few weeks in the month of October for the topics that you can sign up for. All of these, again, will be recorded, so if you sign up to attend them and you're unable to, you will receive an email with the link, as well as within about a week or so, they will all be up on our YouTube page. All right, Charlotte.
Thank you all for joining us today and for the care, energy, and commitment you bring to your roles as caregivers. Please keep an eye out for a follow-up email. It will include a link to today's recording, downloadable resources, and additional ways you can stay connected with NDSS. Please tune in for the next presentation in the series, A Caregiver's Guide to Supporting Career Development for Adults with Down Syndrome, on Tuesday, October 7th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can register on the NDSS website, ndss.org/NDSS-webinars. If you have any further questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to us at health@ndss.org.